Hey guys, it's Bob Ross, and I want to welcome you to Office Hours with Bob Ross, episode number 27. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing well out there. Another week gone by. Our opportunities to perform are still not there, but eventually we'll all get back out there. And again, I hope that you're all doing well and that you're working to improve on your playing, or maybe making a plan for what you're going to do in the long term, and how to grow as a musician, or, establish your teaching side potentially of your career, or any other, aspect of your playing or career that you're wanting to push forward. And on that topic, what I want to discuss is finding performance opportunities. Now, I know right now we're not out there performing, but in general, like, performance opportunities are opportunities in general. I wanted to discuss that a little bit, and give you at least a little bit of insight on where I've come from with it, and maybe trigger some ideas for you to implement, and just maybe give some sort of maybe a bit of motivation for you. So, there's a couple ways, and it's interesting because I was listening to the Guitar Hour podcast, and it's interesting. At that moment, I was thinking back about what I was doing to kick things off about a decade ago when I moved into the Cincinnati area. And my approach, I guess it's coming from just my background. I feel more like a loner, and I want to do things and push things ahead for myself. Like, I don't want to sit and wait for opportunities, and I'm pretty persistent about anything that I do, and I'm pretty hard-headed when it comes to this kind of stuff too. But what I started to consider was, well, what was it that I had done to get to where I am now? How did I start off? And there's a couple different approaches that I usually see, or maybe I'm sure that you all know about as well, which has to do with, one being, you make people aware of your availability to come out and play. So you make yourself known, and you hope that you will get a phone call, or you interact with people and you start getting to be part of a group where you become part of someone's thinking when they're out there booking gigs or having opportunities. And that's one side, is to wait for the call. The other side, which I've pursued, is to just go out and do it yourself. And I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. When I moved into the area, I didn't know really anybody. There's a couple people I knew that lived in the area from relationships I developed when I was an undergrad, but I didn't know really too much about the venues, or any certain people that were playing around. And within that year, and this is a decade ago, so 2010, in May I came into the area and started to set up shop, and what the very first thing I did, and I'll say this, is I looked for a teaching opportunity. So I started contacting, multiple academies, places that, were providing lessons. That way I could start to set up something and have a middle ground in order to have students, because nobody knew who I was. So I wanted to have a place that was established and set up shop there. That way I could build a roster of students. And when I was doing that, then I started to think, now what should I do with opportunities to perform? And what I would do is, at the time, I picked up a phone book, and I would just go through in any sort of restaurants that popped up, places that would host, like little small art places, libraries. I looked for any opportunities I could to play. Now, there are established venues. There were. Some of those places have closed at this time. And to give reference, I mean, it's 2010. It's now 2020. Some places that I used to play at are now gone. But there were certain venues that I started to hear about or I knew of. And I ended up going to those venues and reaching out to them and eventually lined up opportunities there. But what I was looking for is any way that I could perform. So I reached out to, again, libraries, community centers, looking at coffee shops, any place I could go. I was just looking for opportunities to perform. I didn't wait for anybody to call because, again, I really didn't know too many people. Nobody really knew me. I know that there's the approach you could take where you go out to jam sessions, start meeting up with people, but I was trying to get this to happen fairly quick because within a few months of being here, I was getting married. So I wanted to make for sure that I was starting to line up opportunities on my own, and I wanted to just go out and just go full on into it. So I looked for opportunities, and that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. And especially, I know the time we're in right now, maybe that's not necessarily going to happen in the too near future. But the overall message is that you need to look for opportunities for yourself. Don't wait. And I think that there's a lot of people that are doing that now. And for some of us, we understand that really well, and we're looking for those opportunities. But just remember, you don't have to wait for others to say it's okay for you to come and do your music. You can set up your own opportunities to perform, especially now with social media. You can do live events, do pre-recorded videos and host a watch party. You go live on YouTube. I mean, there's so many different things that is now available that, at least at the time, when I came to the area, in 2010, starting to do this stuff was not available. But again, my message overall is that you constantly need to look for opportunities, whether it's in performance or whether it is in teaching, and find anything that you can to the best of your ability on your own. There's nothing wrong with getting help, and yes, having connections does provide opportunities as well. But what I'm getting at is not to rely strictly on just others hooking up these opportunities for you. You need to push ahead because you, in turn, could create opportunities where you could bring others in to what you're doing as well. So you're providing a benefit for others as well. All right, guys, I want to thank you for listening. Don't forget that you can find lessons and courses on my page on musicallessons.com/Bob Ross. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave a comment, give it a rating, and I hope you can join me next time on Office Hours with Bob Ross.